Episode of Coffee with the Critters, where I live stream every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, and I've been doing this live stream of Coffee with the Critters for over 8 years on Sunday mornings, and excited to do so. For those that may be new, my name is Laura Joseph. I'm owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We're an international educational center where we teach people all over the world how to empower animals through training and enrichment and the people that care for them. You can find out more about what I do on my website at Laura at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. When you go to the website, you'll see all of our services, our memberships, our webinars, our events, upcoming events, our blog, and our shop, which will show some of the training equipment that we use, such as target sticks, stations, treat pouches, what have you. Happy New Year, everybody. You will find out more about our events, where I'm speaking, our workshops, on our event page on our Facebook page or on our website. There you will also find the live streaming services that we offer, education to people all over the world. We do live stream our services to people in numerous different uh, countries. So let's go ahead and get started because I have a lot to get through today. For those that may be new, I teach people how to use the science of behavior called applied behavior analysis with all species of animals, no matter what the species. And let's get started. So, good morning, Iris. Good morning, Tim. Good morning, Sandra. Happy New Year, everybody. I want to run through, and I've got like 48 slides to get through, our year in review, some of the work we've done. I've picked out personally some of my favorite highlights. So with that being said, you know what's coming up, the gators. One of my favorite animals to work with, but definitely not limited to. I know we get a lot of comments about people like seeing my work with the alligators. I first started working with alligators 8 years ago, knew nothing about them, but I just saw an interest from them each time I walked by their enclosure. So without getting into alligator training, I use the science of behavior to communicate, create a dialogue with the animal of what I'd like it to do if it chooses to do so. And when it does so, I will deliver reinforcement of value to whatever is of value to that particular animal. So Elvis and Priscilla were housed for the winter. They got in some kind of a fight, and it caused some injuries to Priscilla. The veterinarian came in and took a look at it. Her front left leg was lame. She was not using it. So we did x-rays, found out there was no broken bones. And he turned to me and said, Laura, you can do physical therapy through training with this alligator to get her using her leg again. So through target training and a lot of consistency in work throughout the summer, there she is using her front left leg. And I use that through target training, raising the target higher, 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 asking for a hold. And I did this over many months, teaching her to hold, stay, and then got her using her front left leg. And then I got her through shaping, I got her starting to walk using her front left leg. And I'm happy to tell you now, if you did, I had a lot of people coming out that were very interested in watching the physical therapy I was using with her. So here she is walking. If you never knew this even happened, you would have no idea because she's walking back to normal. And Elvis and Priscilla are now in brumation for the winter, where they don't eat until the summer when the temperatures get higher. Good morning, everybody. Um, so here she is in her winter housing in a new 8 foot by 4 foot pool that volunteer Ernie uh, built for her and one for Priscilla. Bruce is at the center and still in active training. We're talking about that in our Advanced Applied Animal Behavior and Training membership. Um, Something else that was brought to my attention that was a really hot topic and something that we're working on now in the PARROT project is restraint training. We teach one of the first things I teach any animal when I first start interacting with it is I need to know what it responds to, what it walks away from, identifying reinforcers. Good morning, Melissa. Good morning, Charisse. Charisse, I'll see you in a couple weeks. Peggy, Wendy, Ray, Stephanie. Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. Even with the alligators at the end of the fall of 2023, those of you in our advanced membership, online membership, were seeing how I was starting to crate train the alligators. When I first start working with an animal, I think, what is this animal going to need? And those are veterinary exams, veterinary visits. So I immediately start planning with the vet visit in mind. Husbandry behaviors, scale training, crate training. So I'll start, I'll start wherever the animal lets me begin. But our work with restraint training was a hot topic this year, showing animals how to get comfortable and being willing to let us restrain them. Because a lot of times when working with these animals, we never know when an accident's going to happen. Restraint, some form of restraint, whether that's in crate, being towed, is going to eventually probably have to happen. So another hot topic this year was our workshops. We had, for the first time in several years, our parrot enrichment workshop, and we have another one scheduled in April, and it's already starting to book. We got rave reviews on our parrot enrichment workshop, showing people the importance of enrichment, what enrichment looks like. Enrichment was my gateway to training animals because, studies show if you're actually using positive reinforcement training, it's the animal's preferred form of enrichment. So our first parrot enrichment workshop in several years was a big hit. And then our understanding behavior through working with birds workshop sells out every year. We've already announced the date for 2024 and the seats have already started selling. I need to post those publicly. You can find those on the Animal Behaviors Center's website. This will be the third year we've had it, and our understanding behavior through working with birds workshop is geared towards all people who want to work with any species of animal. And I picked birds because they're prey animal. A lot of people are not privy to a lot of their subtle behaviors, what it means. So the birds are great teachers, showing people where do you begin training? How do you identify reinforcers? Where do you begin working with fearful animals? Things to pay attention to, like I was just discussing in a live stream the other night. I can't remember if it was our Foundations of Understanding Behavior membership or the Parrot Project, but when working with fearful animals, such as Wilma and Fred, the black cast hornbills, um, one thing I never do when working with a fearful animal is walk behind them. I never walk behind an animal that is fearful of human interaction. Um, Melissa asked a question. What did you learn this year that surprised you the most? Oh, I don't know. I'm thinking of all the animals I'm working with. For I don't want to say this isn't the most surprising, but working with the wolves, um, because they have a history of intermittent training with me over the past several years, and sometimes I didn't train them for 2 years. As I guess what is because I started training them like 7 years ago. Um, when I jumped back in, starting training them again, how quick they understood training was happening. And I am going to talk about the wolves here in a second. Um, thank you, Therese. Therese posted that the events I'm talking about can be found here. You can see that in the comments. I don't know because I work with so many amazing animals. It's hard for me to say which one was the most fascinating. But I will tell you, for those of you that follow the work we do, Fred and Wilma were extremely fearful when we first started working with them. You couldn't even walk into the same room with them. Fred is just doing fabulous. He is the black cast hornbill in this photo in the back. We just made mention of this last week, how comfortable he is now. There's usually 2 to 3, sometimes 4 to 5 people at the center per day working. And they're both in the enrichment room and we let them out flying around. How comfortable he is now, like with people starting to walk behind him, with one person walking in front of him and one person walking behind him. So thanks for that question. Within the understanding behavior through working with birds, we also worked on training Fred and Wilma how to crate. And it's never, when you don't want to start working on crate training an animal is when they need to be in the crate by tomorrow. We started working on the crate with them a while ago, and then we get busy and get shifted and moved off to another species of animal. Then we'll focus on that, and then we come back to this. As we continue to build our staff and volunteers, it depends. Like we're starting to move numerous different people into different training sessions, with the wolves, with the hornbills, with the lemurs, the gators. It's just me for, no, it's not. No, it's not. Jill's helping me train Bruce. Kendall's helping me train Bruce. Lindsay's helping me train Bruce. Bruce is actually located in this photo. If you look at that enclosure right behind the hornbills, that's where our alligator is. Melissa says, Key West misses you. Please come visit soon. I am trying to get down there this year, and I am looking at trying to take a vacation in February. But this is just one of many things that happens in our understanding behavior through working with birds workshop, where we don't work with just birds. People tell me in my workshops, they may be there for a specific interest in a specific species, but when they tell me a behavior issue they're struggling with, I'll be like, come here, let's go train the wolves. Let me show you how timing is effective. Because Some of the best educators I've ever had in my life are the actual animals. They teach me so much if we take the time to know better and do better. So you guys know that I'm starting to work with the Timberwolves. That would be Jenks and Naomi and Smokey Joe and Fiona. I see them pretty much every day. And as soon as this workshop's over, I'm getting ready to go out and work with them again. The winter is here, so it causes a little more struggles in getting out there to train them. So, and I was just making mention this yesterday to whom? I think it was Deb. I said, a lot of people don't like winter. When you're working in the field of animal behavior training and enrichment, winter is extremely important because it's when you start getting training plans together for the summer, building new enclosures, getting aviary plans put into place, building up your enrichment. If you want catch cages redesigned, start putting those plans together now. We're talking about starting to grow our own herbs for different medicinal purposes for the animals. And Stacy mentioned yesterday thyme, THYME. The herb thyme is great as a great insect repellent. So we're starting to grow thyme. Eucalyptus plants were just ordered yesterday, so we can get these growing and ready for the summer. So we want to use the thyme with the wolves. To help detract the flies. So we were sitting there talking yesterday. I was like, we could rub it all over them as long as they like it. And then Stacy's like, or we could come up with some kind of a mat that we spread with thyme, giving them the choice to roll through it. And I was like, or we could hang up huge brushes on the side of the enclosure and smear it, put thyme throughout it, and give them the opportunity to go up and use this nature's natural insect repellent on their own. Because a lot of last year we had to train them to allow us to put swat on the ears because that's where the flies tend to land and bite. So winter is a great time to start putting all of this together. Yep. So we're working on looking into medicinal purposes of a bunch of different herbs, how we apply it, and to which species of animals. This was probably one of my happiest moments of 2023. This is, I can't tell if that's Jenks or Naomi. But I started a lot when I started working with the wolves, they all looked the same to me. And how I found out, good morning, Patsy from Louisiana, how I started determining who was based on who would do a target, who would a nose target to the hand, who would line up like this along the fence. Here's me preparing them for a veterinary exam through protective contact training. That's how I just was able to decipher which wolf, because I only taught certain wolves certain behaviors. That was an eye-opening moment for me. So we're working really closely with the wolves, the lemurs, the gators, a lot of different species of birds. Something else I've made mention in the Sam I Can Foundation is DC, the Moluccan cockatoo. Parrot Hope Rescue reached out to me in, I think it was September, saying, we need your help. We have a bird that we're not making any progress with. He was surrendered to us 2 years ago. We don't know a lot about him. So we agreed to bring him in through our nonprofit, the Sam I Can Foundation. You can follow his story. I'm putting updates on the Sam I Can Foundation's Facebook page. We brought him in, and they said they've tried to get him to step up, and they can't get him to step up. So we need to observe behavior. What does DC do? What doesn't he do? What does he do repeatedly? What do these behaviors mean? Is he going to bite? What is his history of reinforcement for interaction with people through the cage bars, outside of the enclosure? Um, so we get him on the island in the kitchen a lot, with a lot of just observation, off contact training. We are training him without the use of touch, but we're able to move on now through the use of touch. He came to us right before Thanksgiving, so a little over a month ago. We're wanting to see, he seemed to be okay being touched through his enclosure, but outside of his enclosure, he's hands off. He did some repetitive behaviors that we'd not seen before, so we're trying to understand contextually, what does this mean? Does this mean, is this something he's looking, that he moves towards, moves away from, identifying reinforcers? What does this drumming of the foot mean? What do these different vocalizations mean? So then we're like, Parrot Hope's Rescue's main goal is for us to teach him to step up. And within the first week he was here, we were teaching him to step up onto our arms. But once he steps up, how are you going to get him to step off? So we were working on that. We were also told he did not spend a lot of time outside of the cage because the fosters struggled with getting him back inside the enclosure. So we are live streaming our work with him inside the Parrot Project, and you're able to see each time how we put him back in the enclosure, how we do it. He was frustrated in the beginning, and you're watching that and how we're pairing that with other things of value that are delivered or appear when he's inside of his enclosure. And last week, our last live stream, I've live streamed every single time of him going back into the enclosure so the people in the Parrot Project can see how we do this. We saw absolutely zero sign of frustration. So he's stepping up. He's allowing us to pet him, touch him. The training started. I started training inside the enclosure, outside the enclosure. We're now working on teaching him voluntary nail trims with a Dremel. And if you want to find more about the work that we're doing with DC, the Moluccan Cockatoo, you can follow us on our nonprofit, the Sam I Can Foundation's Facebook page. We have a couple of new animals I'm starting to work with. This is Larry and Jackson. The red ruff lemurs. I don't know. When I start interacting with them, it starts via off contact. Then if I can, I'll move through protective contact. And then if I can make successful use through protective contact, I'll move to full contact. And as of this, about a week and a half ago, I moved to full contact. So I am inside the enclosure working with these two red ruff lemurs. I just started because I was sick a couple of weeks ago, so I just stayed away from them. But I'm watching these minds wanting to learn, and they're learning without me. My concern is, what are they learning? So I just started getting in with them, started training, nose target, identifying any behavior concerns, and the training starting. We're just starting with hand targets. Here's something else I thought was pretty fascinating to me that I smile when I train, because no matter what the species of animal, the primary goal behind the work that we do is empowering the living hell out of that animal. So we're working with two fearful animals, boop, Fred and Wilma. Were fearful, not so much fearful anymore. So we wanted to, and I'm getting ready to show this. I can't remember. I just mentioned it in our live stream Q&A the other night, either in the foundation's membership or the Parrot Project. I believe it was, I think we're going to show this one in the Parrot Project because it's showing how to shape the behavior of two animals, birds taking a bath. So we did a little research on black casque hornbills and how they bathe. So Jill, our volunteer, went out and bought us an extra kiddie pool, and we started shaping this behavior. Now, the complexity in training this is you're working with one very fearful animal. That's Fred, who's on the perch in the background. And we need to get these, our goal is to get these two birds to bathe. They need to bathe. We want them to bathe. We want them to see bathing as enrichment. So we're going to shape that through approximations at their pace. So bringing a prey animal down to ground level is not as easy as you may think. So we had to shape that behavior. And here's Fred. This is during a workshop. So our whole workshop is off to the left-hand side. So he's doing this in front of about 14 people. And our end goal, we haven't reached it yet. But here they are both in the kiddie pool. We're getting ready to show our work with this in the Parrot Project. Something else, this is a photo from the other day. We love enriching animals because providing enrichment is not only species specific, it is individualized. So that's how I got into training, because through providing tactile enrichment, I identified that training was a valued form of enrichment to almost every species. I haven't met one species of animal that hasn't found training using positive reinforcement and applied behavior analysis as one of their primary forms of enrichment. That is what got me into this and led me to taking master level classes in applied behavior analysis. I just did this the other day. This is Coco and Rocky. Coco is our umbrella cockatoo. Rocky is our Moluccan cockatoo. I'm getting ready to go into detail about this in the Parrot Project. It's really important with a lot of different animals, but I see it really strong with parrots. We need to keep them used to change, because change in their environment is going to happen whether we like it or not. If they're used to change, it's not as stressful or isn't stressful at all. So we're building different play gyms inside the center, and adding on to those play gyms. Here I have added a perch onto a hanging play gym that brings, this is an optional perch, that brings that bird close to the people when they're doing food prep. And I saw Rocky and Coco so empowered the other day, and it was so easy for me to get them out and get them enriched and learning new things in the middle of my extremely hectic, busy day. I saw behavior and change with them immediately. Um, Here is a toy that an enrichment device that can be used with numerous different animals. We're working on making larger versions of this for different species of mammals. This is a piece of enrichment for the hornbills where they gladly and want to go back into their enclosure when they see it. These are the lick plates I just created yesterday for the wolves, and we're talking about this in our advanced applied animal training membership, how to increase complexity, because increasing complexity is a must when providing enrichment, whether that's through foraging, other types of enrichment, in our training. Because when you increase complexity, you increase choice and the animal's control over their environment. So lastly, but definitely not least, always a highlight is our volunteers and our staff here at the Animal Behavior Center. We have a lot of fun. We've had a couple of struggles this year, but it's blossoming. This is Deb Sass trimming off some toys in Rocky's enclosure. Here's Lindsay Douglas helping me transport Bruce because he was not crate trained we're working on it. He's in. We've got that pool temp raised. He is moving. He is very interactive, and we are working on his training. So when we move him in the spring, it's voluntary. We do a lot. All our volunteers, we are nothing without our volunteers and our staff. Our volunteers help clean, do food prep, help train, make enrichment, and help design enclosures, to help teach the public, show the public what we're doing and how we empower the hell out of animals and how we do that. I was just on a phone call this morning saying this is what we can do in the wolves enclosures. Here's Ernie cutting up a bunch of meat for the wolves and the gators in our new deep freeze, which is right behind him, that is packed full of meat, ready for training. So I just want to give a huge shout out to all of our staff and our volunteers because the Animal Behavior Center is nothing without you. So I want to wish everybody a happy, great new year. Thank you for 2023 and everybody and everything that was in it that helped me learn to know better and do better. I'm looking forward to 2024. We'll be live streaming again next Sunday morning at 9:30 Eastern. If you would like to learn more about the work we do, please feel free to reach out to us because there's a lot we have to offer. We're working on our workshops for 2024. Two are already scheduled and they're already booking. If you are interested, I highly suggest you look really soon. First one's in April, second one's in May. We're working on others, which will be more specific. We also have a day with the trainer where you can come train with me side by side for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. You're all mine. It's just me and it's just you, and we're learning, cooking, and moving. You can also find more about the work we do on our annual memberships, which is our foundations membership, our advanced membership, and the Parrot Project. We also have our webinars, which we are working on another live streamed webinar, so stay tuned. And with that being said, I want to say thank you. Thank you for all your loyal support, your following. If you follow us, you are a supporter. If you share the work we do, you are a supporter, and we thank you. Hey, April, Therese, Rachel, yay. You guys are all very welcome, and I'm really excited for 2024. We're cooking and we're moving, and we'll be live streaming some of our work we do. Happy New Year, everybody. See you next Sunday.